everyone, this is Dr. Harrington here. I'm excited to be your professor for this summer session course on lifespan development. And I just wanted to orient you to how the course is set up. All of the materials will be in Campus Cruiser, so you just go log into the Middlesex website and you go ahead and go into Campus Cruiser and then you'll log in. I am already logged in, but once you log in, you'll see a listing of your classes for the summer. And you'll go ahead and click in my class, the Lifespan Development class. When you click on that, you'll be brought to our welcome page. So this is where I'll be putting any important announcements for you. You'll definitely want to pay attention to those. Here is where you can access the syllabus. And if you scroll down, you'll see I also copied and pasted the calendar so you can kind of keep track of the due dates and all pretty easily. The other piece of the welcome page I want to show you is the bookmarks. This is where all of the videos will be. I'll be popping this one in right here on how to, navigate the course. And then there's a couple of general kind of supportive videos here. And then you'll dive into actual narrated PowerPoints and some videos that I want you to watch. So they'll be kind of in order of chapters. So you can go ahead and follow those. They're right there on the front page. So let me just go ahead and pop into the syllabus for a moment just to show you kind of how the course is set up. And you'll see that it just pops up and it provides you with some information about myself and the resources we'll need. You'll need Exploring Lifespan Development 3rd Edition by Laura Burke. It's up to you if you want to purchase the publisher materials that go with it or not. That's optional. And then if you go ahead and scroll down, I'm not going to read all this to you because you can certainly read it on your own time, but this is important because it tells you what you're going to get out of the class. So these are the learning outcomes, and here are the topics that we'll be discussing. So it's a great orientation to the class. And then here's kind of the setup of how you'll be graded. In an online class, you'll be doing some independent work, of course, by reading the textbook and taking notes and watching the videos by yourself. But then you'll also be engaged in collaborative learning as well. So we'll be having many message board conversations, online discussions, and we'll talk about that in a moment. And then you'll have some opportunities to demonstrate your knowledge. And that'll come through via the message board conversations, but also your quiz and test performance. And you'll have an opportunity to dive into a topic by doing a research article PowerPoint presentation. You can see here, this is the way that the grading distribution is set up. So the quizzes, in my mind, are formative assessments, which basically means they are designed to help you learn the content. So you'll have multiple attempts at quizzes. I believe it's 3 attempts, and the highest grade will count. The midterm is worth 10% because this also is a learning experience, and then the final, which is cumulative across the whole semester, will be 30%. But you can see the biggest chunk of your grade really comes from the message board, so that's really the heart of an online class because it replaces the in-person discussions that would happen in a traditional classroom setting. There is an extra credit opportunity as well, so you might want to take advantage of it. Here's some general information about how online learning works. In this particular class, it is set up differently in different classes. My class is set up to be completely asynchronous, which means we don't have any day or time that we all need to be online at exactly the same time. However, you do need to make sure that you're completing all the assignments on track and according to the schedule. Okay, and if you have any questions, you certainly can reach out. Here are resources that are available to you. Of course, I'm the first point of contact for you, but there's many other supports that you can use on campus as well. Here is the policy information. Academic integrity is essential to our college and certainly to this class. I expect that everyone will engage in honest actions, and I do set up policies and procedures to try to help and assist with that by giving the final and the midterm, for example, our times and more applied questions. It is important to follow everything according to schedule, but if you do have something that happens in your life, please reach out to me, preferably ahead of time. It'll be easier for me to work with you if you reach out to me ahead of time. So for instance, with the quizzes and whatnot, those are set up so that the answers are given out to the students as soon as the quiz session is closed. And at that point, all the answers are out, and I'm really not able to give you an extension on that. So, reach out ahead of time because I could change some of those parameters if possible. It may or may not be, I may or may not be able to do it depending on what the situation is because it is a condensed session. But I certainly do want to work with you if you have a significant issue going on. Here's information you need to know about the message board. I really want you to spend a lot of time reading through this, because if you know what I'm expecting, these are pretty high-level conversations. You'll perform in a much better way, and that performance obviously will translate into increased learning and a higher level grade. You'll see that I do want you to interact with peers, but I am not interested in the, hey, that was a great idea. I mean, it's all good to support one another, but I want us to really dive deeper through these. So instead of just kind of agreeing with your peers, I'm going to ask that we use Socratic questions, and I'm going to ask that you ask and answer these questions, and not just ones that are directed toward you personally, but really anybody can answer any question posed out there. So I'll be jumping in, asking questions, and even though I might be responding to a particular student, any other student in the class can jump in and provide their response to it. You'll see I want you to reference the textbook and other outside resources as you're engaged in the message board conversation, so it's really important that you do that. I do read every single post, and I will be grading every message board, but I may not respond to every message board. I treat it like a conversation. I wouldn't necessarily respond after every student spoke in a classroom, and the same is the case in an online discussion. So I'll periodically jump in, challenging you with questions or adding some additional content, and hopefully that really facilitates in-depth learning throughout this semester. Here's a rubric on how you'll be graded, so you can take a peek at that. And you'll see here's the information about the quizzes, the midterm, and the final. The quizzes, you can use your resources for the quizzes, but I really encourage you not to do that. And the rationale for that is if you're actually retrieving content from memory, that helps you learn the content. So although you're not going to be penalized and I'm not requiring you to do it completely independently for the quizzes, it will help you perform better on the midterm and final. The midterm and final is a closed book exam, so even though you're taking it online, I do expect that you're not using any materials, and I also expect that you're working independently. And again, I put time parameters and other safety precautions into place to just make you less tempted to engage in any dishonest actions. Towards the end of the semester, you'll be doing a research article PowerPoint presentation, and basically it tells you exactly what to do here. You find the articles, you summarize them, here's what I'm looking for, and here is the rubric on how you'll be graded. Finally, the extra credit project is outlined here. It's up to 3% of your final grade, so it's a pretty significant project. And I like to provide students with this alternative should they be struggling on a different part of the class. It allows you to kind of demonstrate what you do know and what you have been learning. Okay, here's the course calendar. I just want to mention something that's pretty important. The message boards, just to make it less cluttered, this calendar, I've made the final message board post due on the due date. So for instance, here, our first real message board, we will engage in a good conversation about who we are and all. That's not a graded message board, this biography one. This is more of an icebreaker and getting to know you one to get everybody familiar and acclimated to the message board feature in Campus Cruiser. But the resilience message board is the first one that is actually graded. But you are going to need to provide your initial response one day earlier. So by 11 o'clock the day before is when you should provide your first response. That allows you to then interact with two of your peers using those Socratic questions, diving deeper into the content, and that means the conversation then is over at 11 o'clock on this day. So then I'll be grading those conversations the next morning. So just so you know how the sequencing of things work. Okay, let me pop back into our course. Okay, so I'm still on the main page here. Oh, let me go over to the student view, actually. I just realized I'm in the professor view. Just bear with me one second. The home page looks exactly the same, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so we're still on the main page here. Now, over here, you'll see there's several different tabs. I just want to make sure you know how to access them all. The announcements tab is pretty much here, so most of that will be front and center. But sometimes if you already viewed an announcement, it might go away, so you might need to actually click in here and you should still see it there. So if you lose an announcement, go and check on by clicking on this, and that should find it for you. Bookmarks is right here, so you can go either way. These are all the bookmarks, or you can use this tab over here. Either way is fine. We're not using chat room or calendar too much. Email, certainly you can email me or any of your classmates. That's fine. The feature that we will be really relying on is message board. So when we click on message board, you'll see I have all of the messages here. And you could see when you click on it, I don't know why it makes you do this twice. You got to click on it twice. What I want you to do is you should be replying to me. So make sure your initial post is a reply to me. Then as you're interacting with other classmates and whatnot, you can then reply to other students. It's pretty simple. You just click the reply. You have all these tools here to make it visually organized. So you may not want to have paragraphs without any headings. Maybe you want to use bold print or headings to highlight some of the key issues that you're trying to mention there. You can also use this quote feature. So maybe you want to, quote this welcome thing, and then you just get rid of all the rest. And then what you'll be able to do is to, on the bottom, just type your response. And that makes the conversation flow pretty well also. Some of them will require you to attach an article or summary or something. So here's where you attach that. And that's pretty much how the message boards are set up. So I encourage you to do that. Shared files is a place where you'll be able to access some of the research articles that I mentioned that you'll need for it. There's another place for you to get the syllabus. You can also have the PowerPoint slides from my videos, which are in Bookmarks, so you might want to print those out, not a bad idea. And there's also a sample PowerPoint presentation, so you can see what I'm looking for. Syllabus we have on the front page also. My assignments, the only time you really need to submit here is for the research article and the extra credit project. But the other key place you're going to want to pay attention to is my assessments. This is where all the quizzes are. Oops, it looks like I did not activate them yet. But this is where all the quizzes will pop up. So let me just see if I can get out of here 1 minute. And I want to get back in as, okay, so anyway, I'll show that to you in just a second. So here we go. Here is the quizzes and all. So this is where you'll find the quizzes and the exams, and basically when you just click on new attempt, you'll be able to go ahead and start the session. It is something, you gotta make sure your pop-ups are okay. Allow pop-ups, and now I should be in good shape. So make sure your browser is all set to go and all. Again, you will have a chance to play around and practice with this with the quizzes. So you can see there's only 15 questions for each one. You'll put whatever answer you want to put, and then right at the end, when you answer the last question, you will get your score immediately. So you'll get to see exactly what your grade is right away. So that really is a nice feature. You can keep track of your grades under My Grades, so that's the other feature that you'd want. And I think that really basically covers all of the key issues. So the key ones that you're going to want to pay attention to on the left is the message board, the assessments when it comes time, your assignments, and you'll want to keep track of your grades. The journal is a way for you and I to communicate within the class instead of pushing it out by email, so you can also do that if you'd like. So again, I'm really excited to have you in class. If you do have any questions, actually the best place to ask them is on the message board. You'll see the very first forum I have is questions. And that way, in case someone else is able to answer your question before I'm able to get to it, it really can be a wonderful way for us to support one another. And many times other students have that same question, but they didn't think to ask. So really great way to support one another. So unless it's a personal question, this is really the best place to put your questions. All right, but you can, of course, email me or send me a message to my journal. Either way, I'll make sure I get back to you. I'm pretty quick about responding, and I look forward to it. It's a great, great course. I think you're going to love it. You're going to relate to all the content, and I can tell you, although it's an intense summer session, there's a lot going on, a lot to do. We have 19 chapters to do in 4 weeks. I can tell you many, many, many students before you have been successful at doing this, and I'm sure you will too. Take care.